after I give some words and after Don presents some words, you all have the opportunity to say a few words about my mom. Any stories that you remember, whatever, anything. Be kind to my mother. It's her 80th birthday. Oh, God. So, what does a daughter say about her mother? How does she talk about her mother in just a few words? Because Mom, after 56 years, you've given me such great material. And I realized, after I wrote my speech and looked back at it, that I truly am my mother's daughter. There's just so many things about my mother that are alike. We're both really outgoing, and we like to help other people. How we're different, one of the ways we're different is that we certainly don't have the same standards of cleanliness or neatness. And I'm sure you can guess which one that is. So, my mom was a quintessential stay-at-home mother. She cooked. She baked. Boy, did she bake. I bet Linda remembers that. I used to wait for the beaters, sit there and wait for the beaters and wait for the spatula because I could hardly wait to eat what was in the bowl. She also sewed, and she cleaned like the Dickens. Yes, you did, Mom. And my mom always tried to be helpful. My mom tried to be helpful in ways that some people didn't always appreciate. And some of you here know that. I will give an example from my own life. When I was a teenager, I was not the neatest person in the world. And so my bedroom would often get rather messy. My mom would wait, and she'd nag at me, and then finally she'd just go in the room and clean it up. And then it was up to me to be able to find my stuff. Like, Mom, where'd you hang my sweater? Mom, where are my shoes? Mom, it's like it was like going on a field trip or a scavenger hunt. So, I'm trying to remember if there's other stuff in between here. My mom's also really creative. I don't know how many of you know that. So, how many of you here remember the column called Hints from Heloise? So, a couple people are saying yes. Well, I always said to my mom that she should have a column called Hints from Gertrudes. Because my mother always came up with some really interesting ways to fix life's little problems. Now, I brought a few props. One of them is this stocking, which I just stole from my mother's drawer. Now, one of the things we had in our basement was we had a washing machine, and that washing machine, emptied water into this sink. Well, my mother couldn't stand the idea that lint was getting into her sink, so what she did is she attached the stocking to the hose so that the lint would go into the bottom of the sock. That was like an incredible hint from Gertrude. Remember, Mom? Yes, she does. Okay. Another time, there was a leak at the top of Don's wall in his bedroom. You don't remember this leak? Remember the leak, Mom? You don't remember the leak? Anyway, there was a spot on the wall, and, your typical Jewish mother, what would she have done? She would have made a phone call and said, come out and fix the leak. But not my mother. No. She climbed into the attic. You don't remember? You did. She climbed into the attic. I don't know how she fixed the leak, but she did. And she came down, and what she said was this: I'm no Jap. My mother was also an amazing seamstress. In fact, I have proof in here that she's an amazing seamstress, and I'll tell you how. One year, she and my dad drove all the way out to Seattle. She presented me with this Mod Podge Baskin-Robbins container that Allison Blakely and I, and some of you know Allison Blakely and I, put together with many copies of the Underground Scene magazine, and her brother Ewing sold them at school. And she says, go ahead and open it, Lynn. When I opened it, this is what I pulled out. My Barbie. Now, I'm going to pass this around because the gown that Barbie is wearing was sewed by my mother. So please pass that around. And it's amazing. Recently, I opened up the packages. It had all the little patterns. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how she did this. Just unbelievable. My mother also mother make Barbie costumes, but where she really excelled was in Halloween costumes. So one of the first costumes that my mother ever made for me was a pumpkin outfit. Now I was not really into this. I was 5 and I was really embarrassed to be a pumpkin. I don't know why. It was kind of a weird, unusual thing. So what my mom did, she said, you know what? I'm going to go as a pumpkin. She didn't care what I thought. She sewed this costume. I got stuffed with newspapers. And Mom, I don't know how